We do have an independent candidate, Mr. Scott Rupert. Mr. Rupert is running as an independent. He was born on an army base in Germany and moved to Ohio at age 2. He's a truck driver, a welder, and a mechanic. Mr. Rupert wants to lift restrictions on oil and natural gas drilling, encourage other forms of energy production, bolster the power of state sovereignty, and replace income tax with consumption tax. Mr. Rupert?
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Well, as he said, I'm Scott Rupert, and I'm running as an independent candidate for the United States Senate, and that's independent with a small I. It's not my goal to create a party called independence. It's my goal to make the two parties that we have obsolete. When I came here today, I expected to be a part of this wonderful group up here. I'm glad that I'm not because there's anything wrong with them, but it allows me to be me instead of fitting into the mold of the other candidates, because I'm not the other candidates. I drive a truck for a living. I'm an ordinary guy who really wants to reform politics, really reform politics. And I'm here because Josh Mandel is not. There's a lot of good candidates up here. One that I really like. One that I wish was doing what I'm doing. But we know that the candidate who's most likely to win this primary is the one who's not here. Because the parties have given us the illusion of control when we don't really have any. We have a primary process that makes us think we're choosing a candidate. And some of us will, because we're educated on who the candidates are. But most are going to vote for the guy who got the money to get his name out, regardless of whether he showed up at anybody's meetings or not. I'm doing what I'm doing to make that irrelevant, to bring government back to the people. And the fact that I can step out from what these guys are doing and speak for myself and speak to you without trying to get your vote right now, actually I'm here to get your help. Lets me do things a little bit differently. And right now I'm gonna give a speech that I have given at other events as my announcement speech to get people behind what I'm doing. And it originated from an article that ran, an Associated Press article that ran in my local paper in late 2011. And here's an excerpt from that article. Listen to Americans and you'll hear the same plaintive echoes, not just about politics or the election, but about the unsettling predicament that is America in 2011. Republicans or Democrats, liberals or conservatives, young or old, they lack confidence in their elected leaders' ability to do the right thing, in their country's potential to be great again, in their economy, and in themselves. It's not that they feel incapable of doing what needs to be done as much as they're uncertain about what that right thing is and whether anything they can do will have a real impact. Now, it's certainly not true that America is no longer great. And I hope it's untrue that Americans have lost confidence in themselves. Speaking for myself, I know I can have a positive impact for my country, and I know you can too. And that knowledge is the heart of the Rupert for Senate campaign. I know what that right thing is. And I'm certain that by working together, we can have a real impact for our country. It's true our elected leaders don't have the ability to do the right thing. It's true there's little about our economy one can grab onto with confidence. But the problems we face today are symptoms. The sickness is politics and the weak moral fiber of our leaders. The cure is adherence to the United States Constitution. The Constitution makes it very difficult for federal government to interfere in the matters of the states or to intrude into the lives of the people. And it makes it very easy for ordinary people to play an active role in their leadership. The Constitution is the law that governs government, and we've ignored it for too long. I think it was Abigail Adams who said, "If the best among us stay home and tend to private concerns, how then shall we attain our destiny?" I say, if the best among us stay home, how shall we preserve it? And that question should ring in the ears of Americans across the land. I don't consider myself to be the best America has to offer, but I am willing to step to the plate. The best are at home tending to private concerns. And because the best stay home, we no longer have leaders motivated by love of freedom and country. The men and women in Washington are motivated by campaign contributions, power, and prestige. And the choices they make affect our lives and the lives of generations to come. And the best among us have an obligation to participate as Americans, not as Republicans or Democrats. I intend to motivate the best among us to step forward and be the leaders they were intended to be. To embrace the need for limited government and to take office with a good conscience. I'll demonstrate that one only needs stand for what is right with integrity and good character to win an election. I believe in the American spirit and in the idea of American exceptionalism. And I know that Americans are not as far apart as those with the loudest voices say we are. Those loud voices create the divide and continue to widen it because they know the more distance they put between us, the less likely we are to hear the quiet voices speaking across our kitchen tables. The ones that identify with each other. The ones saying they cast their vote for the candidate they do out of fear of the opposition, not because they agree with their candidate. And how rare is a good choice made out of fear? The best ever among us said a house divided against itself cannot stand. At the hands of self-serving politicians, America is fast becoming a house divided. And those who create the division exploit it to their political gain. And in the end, some candidate will win, but we, the people, lose. We always lose. But I have a solution. Present a candidate who lives in the real world, one who understands both sides, can relate to both sides, and can unite both sides. Present a candidate who takes both sides and shows them there's nothing to fear because the power of the Constitution protects each side from the other. The American experiment is but a few centuries old, and we've had just one leader to enjoy unanimous support. A man of character and vision by the name of George Washington. And in his farewell address, he warned us that one day political parties would care more for their own interests than for the interests of their country. That they would eventually enslave those they swore to protect. And today, his prophecy has come true. It affirms my decision to run as an independent candidate. And that's independent with a small I. You should know President Washington didn't make a speech to Congress lamenting the evil of party politics. He appealed to the people through a Philadelphia newspaper. He knew who needed to hear the message. And it's amazing that after only 8 years, he felt it was necessary to tell us that. What had begun as a unified vision had degenerated into a struggle for power over the direction of a nation. Knowing that individual liberty was key to our success, he offered his counsel as one with nothing to gain or lose. And he said the people could receive it, knowing that he had no special interests, no personal interests, and no party to advance. And I'm convinced that a new leader, a true leader, elected on small contributions with no party loyalty, is the way to bridge the divide that has been created in our house. We, the people, have surrendered control of our government out of fear. Fear created and perpetuated by those who call themselves leaders. And today, we dine on the fruit of that fear. We swing from left to right and back again, and the result is always the same because all we do is substitute players in a game that's been adapted by both sides to entertain us while our union dies. And it's time someone steps to the plate. It's time to return the game to its original design. Time to restore the original players. To achieve the original goal. The security of a nation, physical and economic. The founding generation pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor for an idea, and the American experiment has proven that idea to be a good one and that it works, and it works well. By comparison, how little is required of us to preserve it? I'm taking an active role in preserving liberty. And I'm asking you to take one too. Get involved and help me change the way politics is done. When we succeed in 2012, others will take up the cause in 2014. This is only the beginning. A beginning where we can again feel proud of our leaders and of our country and of our place in history. When we feel sorry for the freedoms that we've lost and hopeful for the liberty to be regained and grateful for the opportunity to make it happen. This is only the beginning for you and for me. And I would be honored to stand before you and to stand with you to protect and defend the great state of Ohio from an ever more intrusive federal government, because that is the role of a United States Senator. And have you heard that from a candidate for the United States Senate? The 17th Amendment changed how we elected our senator, but it didn't change their job. But they have to appeal to the people to win an election because of the change. But how do we make this change happen? I said small contributions. You think what I'm saying makes sense? Send me 20 bucks. Challenge 2 friends to send me 20 bucks. Because for 20 bucks, what do I owe you? If I run on $20 contributions with the Constitution as a platform, my allegiance is to the Constitution. If you send me 20 bucks and 2 friends send me 20 bucks, I've got $60 to reach people. And you've already reached 3 people. We build a network. We take our government back. My logo, some of you have seen it. It resembles a fingerprint. It's supposed to resemble a fingerprint. It's a star rotated 180 degrees because we need to turn our government 180 degrees back to the Constitution. And it represents a fingerprint because that's the way we do it. Ordinary people taking charge of their government. We can do it, but we all have to work together to do it. And when Washington sees an ordinary guy win an election, they'll stop. They'll look at how that happened, and they'll see their future. And maybe they'll change. But if they won't, others will see it can be done, and they'll do it too. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.